Every now and then I get a little bit lonely. All right, so fellas, we're live. I say fellas, meaning me and you both, Dave.
Yeah.
He's not with us yet. We don't really know where he's at, but we're leaving him behind until he gets here. We're currently recording and streaming episode number 22 of the TRIF3CTA Sports Podcast. We are live with Dave and Frank. Coop will join us momentarily. Hopefully, we don't know. We might be an hour in, and he might just show up. So when he shows up, I'll pop him up on the screen, and we will. We might get his opinion, or we might just leave him off. So we don't know. So a pretty loaded show today. We're going to really quick recap what we've been doing in the past couple of weeks. We've been basically going through each team in each division, highlighting the best fantasy football players to target off of each team, and kind of giving you a lowdown as to when you should go after them, what you can expect from them. And then kind of some sleeper picks, some things that you might need later on when you're starting your drafts. Our draft is coming up here very soon in our league, Dave. We have when is it? Labor Day weekend? Is that it? When it is? I can't remember.
Yep, Sunday of Labor Day.
Few short weeks away from our fantasy football draft. This podcast has really helped me out a ton. Not saying I'm have a shot in hell of winning this league here in the next couple of years. If Coop was on here, he'd say he's like 4-time defending champ. He would be correct. I think he's a cheater because he's the commissioner. When the commissioner, leave a comment below. If the commissioner wins the championship more than 2 years in a row, is he cheating or not? Leave a comment below.
What?
Is he cheating or not? While he's not here, he can't defend himself. He's not here. So,
well, no, I think he's not here because he's worried that all of his sleepers are in the AFC and NFC South, and he doesn't want us to know about them.
Coop is apparently he's watching us.
He's live, watching us. But he's not. What the hell?
Why are you not with us, Coop? Why are you're watching on YouTube? Where are you at? Comment again. Troy Wilson says absolutely he's cheating. He is cheating absolutely. That's funny. I can't cheat because I'm not good enough to even know how to cheat. I just set my lineups here every now and then. But today we're going to do two separate divisions. We're going to do both the South divisions, AFC and NFC South. We're going to go with the Tampa Bay Bucks first. Oh, Coop, I see you. Dad life. Speaking of dad life, really quick. My daughter starts kindergarten tomorrow. First day of kindergarten. Pretty, I don't know how to feel about it. I just put her to sleep. We read her a little kindergarten story and get to drop her off early in the morning to her kindergarten class. We don't get to walk her in. We have to stop at the door, but I'm pretty excited to see her look on her face anymore. She's pretty excited.
Frank, you're going to cry like a baby.
I am probably going to cry like a baby, but it's okay, though. You're supposed to, right? I don't think I'm going to cry as much as my wife will, honestly. She's already cried once tonight, and that's okay. It's a big time in our house right now.
Oh, yeah. It's electric. I love it. It's awesome. It's crazy to me that you have a kid old enough in school. I mean, that's scary thoughts for me, but it's awesome. Yeah.
We just celebrated her 6th birthday, so. Coop said the tombstone will read father, husband, fantasy football legend. Coop, if you die before me, I'll make sure that happens. I promise. I'll make sure that happens. So we're going to get started with the actual show, apart from us just up here rambling on about stupid crap. You came here to watch us talk about fantasy football. So with that being said, we're going to start off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, we know which Tampa Bay Buccaneers players that we should target for our fantasy football teams. Dave, if you could guess, which fantasy football player from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should everybody probably target in their draft?
Number 1, Leonard Fournette.
That's not who I would have picked number 1.
Well, but everybody needs that cowbell back, and Leonard Fournette.
He's definitely a cowbell. He showed up to camp at 280.
Hey, you got to be big to take hits. You got to have that stamina, and he's just making sure he's got that stamina. You don't come into camp at 185. because then you can't put on weight throughout the year, and then you're going to finish the year at 160. So he's coming prepared. I like a man that comes prepared. He knows what he's doing. Playoff Lenny, he's playoff Lenny for a reason. Week 14, 15, 16, he's going to show up for you. You're drafting him for later rounds, not week 2. They're going to get blown out by the Packers week 2. You want him in week 14 to get you to the championship.
I can see that.
But then, you got the wide receiver core, which is, no doubter. Mike Evans is clearly, I think he's a top 20 guy, might be even higher than that. But then you got Chris Godwin, who did tear his ACL. So Chris Godwin should be back. I think they said around week 6 or week 8. So he's going to be more of a long-term draft pick for you. And then, of course, you got Julio, who is going to be an absolute variable. So whether you want to go Russell Gage or Julio, so that's going to take over Chris Godwin's spot, that's going to be up to you. But I like Russell Gage over Julio. What about you, Frank?
Ooh, I would. Y'all just hear what David has scripted out this, and we didn't prepare this beforehand. He said Julio Jones is an absolute variable. That's magnificent, my friend.
That was off the top.
That's magnificent. Coop's chiming in here with, do anybody have O-line concerns? I don't know if I have O-line concerns if Tom Brady's back there, honestly. He's going to make damn sure that he's not going to get hit. If he's in training camp, which he's not right now, honestly. But if he's talking about different random things and saying, hey, our O-line sucks, guess what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to do? They're going to get an O-line that doesn't suck. So, we talked about Goblin, Mike Evans. I think Julio Jones, man, that's a big signing. I don't see Julio going somewhere that's, been. Oh, Troy says Julio's done. Troy, I don't know if I agree with you. Unless he got hurt today that I haven't seen it. Is that true? I don't know. But if Julio's healthy, I don't think he's going to be sitting on the sidelines for very long. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, but you say that, and then he was a shadow of himself in Tennessee. And you can say Tannehill isn't as good as Brady or Tannehill isn't as good as Matt Ryan.
That's very true.
The guy was hurt all last year, and if he would have been a fraction of what he was, I mean, Tennessee was the 1 seed, but they should have been in a Super Bowl. They should have been winning the Super Bowl if they had King Henry and they had Julio at Julio's best.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I'll rebuttal with this. If you're going from a Tennessee Titans team who, they're the number 1 seed, they have Super Bowl aspirations, but then you get switched to a team that has Tom Brady on it, your mindset changes. You're going to second guess playing through a nick or a bruise, and you're probably going to play through a lot of different things in that situation. Meredith Wall asked, Goblin is out for a few weeks. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. David just talked about that. I don't know if you got on a little bit after David spoke on that. I think he's, week 6 is when he's supposed to come back? Is that right, Dave?
He might. I'm looking it up right now, but they're saying he might. Well, he might be.
We don't know. He's hurt for a few weeks. That's for sure.
Yeah. They're not saying, but he's definitely. I would, if you draft him, he's not playing week 1. That's what they're all saying.
Yeah.
He's not trying to come back for week 1. So.
All right. So there's not a lot to talk about with the Buccaneers. Like we said, Cameron Brate, Kyle Rudolph. Are you going to draft those guys? I don't. Maybe not. Deep leagues, maybe. Honestly. Other than that, Julio, Mike Evans, I would go ahead and draft Russell Gage and Chris Godwin. That's just, safety nets. Chris Godwin is going to play eventually. Yeah. He is a star in this league. Good chemistry with Tom Brady as well. Even gave his number up to him when he got signed by the Bucs. So, I'm loving
Tampa Bay Bucks. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I was reading Meredith's comment here. He said, "Well, doesn't that make Julio a big potential gap filler for a while?" Yeah, that really does. David did mention that too earlier, right before.
He's a
Meredith, you late to the party, big dog. He said he was a variable.
He's a variable.
That's one of the coolest things I've ever heard. I'm down. I'm on the Julio Jones train. I like him. Let's move to. I'm going to stick with none of the red teams. I don't have to change the colors, Dave. What do you think? The Atlanta Falcons.
I like it.
We're going to flip up the Atlanta Falcons depth chart real quick. Big. I wouldn't say big splash, but Matt Ryan leaving the Falcons is a big deal. Kyle Pitts, obviously, first person off the board off of this list, no doubt. In my mind, Kyle Pitts is a star in this league. We also have Cordero Patterson, pretty much a do-it-all type of guy. Marcus Mariota. I see Desmond Ridder playing a little bit too, honestly. Drake London is the wide receiver on this list that I would probably target the most. I don't see anybody else putting up massive numbers consistently, but Drake London is a number one receiver for a reason coming out of college.
So I got a funny story about Drake London, Frank.
Go ahead. I love funny stories, Dave.
We had first draft of the year was Saturday night. A little too many beers, not enough thinking. And we're using Yahoo, and I go for Drake
There's your
London
mistake right there.
Go for Drake London in the 7th round. Yahoo absolutely roasted me for drafting Drake London in the 7th round. They're telling me I could have got him in the 10th. And
you never know with the hoo-haws we play with.
You never know. You never know. But he did hurt his knee Friday night in their first preseason game, and they're saying it's not serious, and he's not practicing this week, but we'll see. I don't know. Do you really trust anybody with Marcus Mariota as their QB1? I don't know, but I took him. I'm believing him. I think he's going to be a stud. Trojan horse down.
Dave, you'll appreciate Keith Hall's comment. You're an old brave, big dog.
Never forget.
Shout out Keith Hall, Powell County Little League, Hall of Famer. I don't know if that's a thing, but Keith, keep doing you, buddy. Coop chiming in here from the depths of his fatherdom and says Tyler Allgeier will be lead back second half of the season. I would probably listen to Coop if I were you guys, honestly. Listen to him. He's pretty smart. We talked to him. I don't know. Some of you guys are hopping on. We got 14 people. That's a record.
All we had to do was kick off Coop.
All we had to do was get rid of Coop, and people will watch the show live. I love it. But anyway, I love you, Coop. I know you're watching.
Yeah,
don't
Coop,
get mad at us.
Hurry up. This is really bad advice you're giving people.
Yeah, put that baby to sleep. We need some numbers up in here. But anyway, the Falcons, do you draft Marcus Mariota? Probably not. I'd let him sit there. Is he probably going to be a decent pickup during the bye week? Maybe. Or an injury, something like that. But you see Tyler Allgeier down here, third on the depth chart. Coop's making a splash saying he might be getting some big reps later on the season. So
I don't think he's far off, though. I mean, Cordero Patterson, I don't want to say he was a fluke, but he was a fluke last year. I mean, he's kind of the Deebo Samuel, the poor man's version of Deebo Samuel.
Deebo!
I think that teams are going to start keying on him, and they're not going to let him, do his thing like he did last year. And at the same time, the reason why he did what he did last year was because he was on a bad Falcons team that was always down 40 points. And so he was just a fantasy champ because it was always garbage time and he was able to rip off some runs. But I stayed away from Cordell Patterson in almost every league. He's a boomer bust guy. And I prefer to give me a solid 10 points in a flex spot because he's not going to be your wide receiver or your running back too. He's going to be a flex guy. So I don't really like him, and I try to stay away from him.
Yeah, guys like that, I'll draft if he's available late rounds, but I'm not going to use him. I want for sure reps, for sure touches. Cordero just doesn't do it for me. He doesn't have the wow factor for me. But we're going to jump into the New Orleans Saints here. New Orleans, pop up that depth chart right quick. Jameis Winston is a guy that Coop is always really high on for some reason. Loves Jameis Winston. Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram, both of them pretty solid picks. Michael Thomas coming off an injury. I did have him as a keeper in our league. Unfortunately, last year I couldn't keep him because he was hurt the whole time. So he's back in the draft pool in the Bush League, fellas. Back in the draft pool. So Jarvis Landry, new acquisition there. One of the big names on this list is Chris Olave from Ohio State, rookie wide receiver. Coop absolutely loves rookie wide receivers. He'll tell you. We mentioned a bunch of them on previous episodes. So if you are interested in learning about those guys we've talked about, you're looking to draft some rookie wide receivers that are going to help you win your league, go back and watch our previous episodes. They're up on YouTube. Okay. We're also up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you are into that type of thing as well. We're trying to grow our brand a little bit. And today, Dave, guess how many viewers we're up to? 17.
Break 20. Oh,
let's give us 20.
We need 3 more.
Share the video. But anyway, Jameis Winston, going to be a solid quarterback. I think he's going to throw it a ton. He's always going to have a ton of checkdowns with Alvin Kamara. I think Jameis Winston could be somebody's QB1, especially in 2 quarterback leagues like we are. Dave, what's your opinion on the Saints? Who you like the most?
Yeah, I love Winston. I think, he should still be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer is the crazy thing. I mean, I think his last year there, he had 50 touchdowns and, 38 interceptions. Let's not talk about that stat. But for a fantasy guy, I mean.
Them don't matter.
No, it's only -2. Touchdowns +4. So,
Looky here. He made it. I'm going to give him the spotlight. Look here.
I apologize that you did lose a streamer by me joining. But we'll get it out.
We went from 17 to 10, Coop.
All because you joined.
It's that damn Carolina hat, I swear.
I just had it open on multiple accounts at the house trying to pad the numbers.
Whatever happens, man. I always go and download our podcast on every device that I have just to give our download numbers up a little bit. You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, any way to get trending, right?
For sure. All right, so Coop, if you haven't been watching, we're talking about the Saints. We're talking about how you love Jameis Winston. I don't know if you love him this year, but you've always loved it in the past.
I do like Winston. I think he's probably like middle of the quarterback pack for me. I've got him in the teens. I think most sites have him low 20s, 22, 23, somewhere in there. Look at other guys like Trevor Lawrence is one that comes to mind. I can see identical numbers out of Winston. 300 yards rushing, 35 to 3,800 yards passing, 24 touchdowns. And I think it's really good upside for Olave.
Yeah, buddy. I called that out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot there. And Michael Thomas, too, he got, kind of pegged as this slant receiver, but he was playing with a 40-year-old quarterback. So if he's really healthy, I would love to see what a big arm can do for his game. I'm pretty high on Michael Thomas, too. I believe that he's back. I don't think he's back to 2019 NFL record Michael Thomas, but
no, probably not.
If I could see him being a wide receiver too this year.
Yeah, the Saints are an intriguing team. I can't even speak English today, Phil. It's been a long day. If y'all didn't know. The Saints are an intriguing team to me. They're in a division that they got to fight the Bucs for. I think they're pretty good. They might handle. I don't know. We're going to talk about the next team here, and this is the one that's more intriguing than I think the Bucs are. We're going to go ahead and flip the script. Carolina Panthers. All right, fellas. When I pop this depth chart up, are you going to be surprised at who's number 1 at quarterback?
Baker.
Bam! Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Matt Corral, and P.J. Walker. All 4 solid quarterbacks. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey is our dude. Probably 1, 2, 3 overall pick in most leagues. I like Robbie Anderson. I like DJ Moore. There might be another sleeper in there somewhere Coop wants to name, but other than that, those three guys. Let me ask you this. 2 quarterback league, Coop. You're running low on quarterbacks. You said you don't draft quarterbacks very often, very high. All the quarterbacks are gone. Are you rolling with Baker Mayfield?
Give me Mariota. Give me a guy that I know is going to have some rushing upside, and I can stream somebody else if he doesn't finish the season. Like, I would rather have that combination of Mariota and Ritter for free than I would Baker.
That's a good point. Y'all make note of that. You're down to quarterbacks, and you've got, just those mid-tier quarterbacks, like we said, Mariota. We have Baker Mayfield as well. We're picking Mariota. Baker's
I'd even
intriguing.
take Trubisky over Mayfield.
Oh, really?
I think Dave made a good call on that, and he has had some rushing. I'm all about rushing on the quarterbacks. If you guys can't tell, like, I got Lamar over Mahomes and Herbert, and it's strictly because he could run for 1,000 yards. So if I see a quarterback that can get me 300 plus, they're getting a bump. 10 yards rushing is the same amount of points as 25 passing. They don't have to have as big of an arm as they do, some good feet. So I think Trubisky's that guy. He can pick up a little bit on the ground, and he's got great weapons.
All very good points. Yeah. So that kind of wraps up the south of the, what is that? The NFC? I don't remember. Is the NFC that's NFC.
I do think McCaffrey is 1-1. Talking about Carolina, I think McCaffrey's a top player in fantasy. Yep.
Over Jonathan Taylor right now?
Yes.
Yeah. If he is healthy, the guy averages 26, 27 points a game fantasy.
Yeah.
PPR. The guy is an absolute stud.
And I don't think you need 17 games for him to be worth it.
Y'all know I'll be styling, Mr. Mollahan. You know I'll be styling. Oh, Coop, I clicked your stuff. That's my bad. What a good producer you guys got. The best producer. Anyway, there's a lot of players in that league that are going to help people win their leagues. It's just not filled like the other divisions are. And this next one might be even worse.
Let me catch up real quick on that O-line note in Tampa. I'm worried about the Buccaneers. Tom Brady's been gone for over a week.
Does anybody know why he's gone? Do you know why, Dave?
Dolphins. They played the Dolphins. He wanted to avoid that media shit show. He wanted nothing to do with Miami.
Oh, yeah. So if you haven't been caught up with that, let me click off this. We're not talking about the Colts right now. Ignore the blue line. Let's make it red.
I was right.
So
A couple weeks ago,
Coop mentioned that he and Tom Brady, it's like a conspiracy that next year Tom Brady will be a part of the Dolphins in some form or fashion, whether it be on the field, on the sidelines, or in the press box. No doubt about it. But I guess they played the Dolphins in a preseason game, and Tom Brady all of a sudden needs a leave of absence for personal reasons before the preseason game.
It was planned.
Yeah, absence. Like they knew ahead of time. They knew before training camp this is what they were going to do. Yeah. So Dave says, is it because they didn't want that media storm brewing up there in Florida where it's really hot and it gets really stinky?
Yeah. Well, there's just so many things in Tampa that have happened. Arians resigns and stays in the front office. Gronk's retired. They lose both guards, one to retirement, one with the Bengals. They lose their starting center to injury. The one thing Brady's never been good at is pressure up the middle, and they have an entire new middle. Fournette comes in 20 pounds overweight. Brady's missing weeks of training camp, and also for the first time in his career has a job lined up for after he plays football. There's just nothing makes sense. Nothing about this team says we got better.
It seems like I'm worried about the Bucs. And we all know how that works. But yeah, we're going to change this back to blue. We're going to shift our focus to the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts made some moves this offseason. Let me find their depth chart real quick. There it is. Make a splash, going to get Matt Ryan. Jonathan Taylor, probably, what do you think, 1-2, Coop? Since he's not 1-1. You think he's 1-2? Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs, one of the best players in the league. In terms of fantasy, had a monster year last year. Definitely, probably looking to duplicate that, and it's a tough task. I like the Colts. I feel like they have a good team. Wide receiver wise, I don't know much about Alec Pierce, but Paris Campbell and Michael Pittman Jr. Both very solid contributors. Are they wide receivers that you would take first 4 rounds? Is there one on there?
I have Michael Pittman as wide receiver 8.
For reference, Coop has his rankings. ESPN has theirs. So here you can see him scrolling across the bottom, and he's
not in their top 10.
He's not going to be on this list. Don't be.
I think he's somewhere in the middle teens for them. He was really good last year. There's not a number 2. Carson Wentz put up good numbers, I think in part because Michael Thomas is so good. Like the off-target rate that he caught balls was insane. And Matt Ryan, if he's anything, he's accurate. I just think there's so much volume. Like we could see this guy, he's 6'4". We could see him push 100 catches. And at that size, there's so much red zone potential.
Yeah.
I think Indianapolis has a really good offensive line. Obviously, they have Taylor.
And a really good defense to get them the ball frequently.
Yes, he's probably the best pure runner in the NFL right now. I think McCaffrey's best for fantasy, but he's going to get 80 catches. So I think, sky's the limit for Pittman. If he finished as a top 3 receiver, it wouldn't shock me. But I can't. I've tried. Like, I mess around with these rankings every day, and I can't keep Pittman out of my top 10. I have him in front of, like, Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill. I don't know if there's any other big names. Mike Evans. Like, I have him in front of all those guys.
Oh, you don't have any worries about him going from Carson Wentz, who is a huck it, chuck it guy, to Matt Ryan, who has had a history with struggling to get touchdowns to wide receivers?
No, because I think that accuracy will help him more than the deep ball. He's a big guy. Like, he'll win contested catches, which Matt Ryan can still get him. He's not a Jamar Chase. He's not just beating somebody off the ball and getting separation. So I think that those, he may not have an insane amount of yards. Like, he might have 10, 11, 12 yards a catch. He's not going to be a Mike Williams putting up 16 every time he catches it. But I think the volume is going to be crazy.
Yeah, so no brainer there with the Indianapolis Colts. We know who we're picking. It's Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman. Probably you could throw Matt Ryan in there if you need a quarterback. He's obviously going to be pretty solid for them. You do worry about the new concepts, new all of the terminology and all the crap like that. But other than those things, I think surefire draft picks in that lineup. Now, what we say about our good friends down there in Jacksonville? What color would Jacksonville be? We'll roll with this one.
Teal.
Yep.
Yeah, I like this color. All right, Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know, man. What do you think? Is Trevor Lawrence going to have a bounce back season?
Dave, what do you got?
I don't think Trevor Lawrence is a draftable quarterback even in 2 quarterback leagues. I think he is a low to mid 20s guy that you just don't know what you're going to get with him yet. I mean, you kind of have to write off last year with how big of a shit show Jacksonville was with Urban Meyer and all the distractions going on there.
Thanks, Urban.
Yeah. Talk about headline maker. I mean, he gave the media plenty of content.
He kicked the kicker. How you going to kick a kicker with Tim Tebow on your roster?
Well, I mean, yeah, he brought Tim Tebow to play tight end 10 years after he should have played tight end. Like,
it's very ungodly.
Right. So, I think Trevor Lawrence will have a better year. Marvin Jones Jr. had a decent year last year for an older guy coming from the Lions. They got Christian Kirk, which he was kind of a, burn you, win you the league type of guy. He was a daily fantasy legend last year because I think he had 3 or 4 games where he put over 20 points. I don't think he's a wide receiver 1, but they're paying him like he is. So that's going to be interesting. The one guy I really do like outside of the running back situation, which we'll get to, is Evan Ingram. The guy is an absolute athlete.
That's what I was going to mention him if nobody else did.
He had a really good, I think, rookie and second year for the Giants, and then I think kind of injuries and then the Giants just being terrible kind of brought him way down. So I'm actually very interested to see what his stock is like about week 3, week 4, because I think he might be one of those guys that doesn't get drafted, but he might get you 8, 9 points consistently each and every week, just based off, he might be 4 or 5 catches, 50 yards.
And that's big. That's big from the tight end spot.
Exactly. So I think he's a huge guy that you're not going to draft. You shouldn't have to draft him. If somebody drafts for him, you make sure you give them holy hell for it, because that is a reach. But keep your eye on him.
Yeah, he had a lot of buzz coming into the Giants. You're right. He had a couple big years. I think it was right there when Odell was going off, so really overshadowed.
Yeah. You going to talk about the running backs, Coop?
I can. I just want to say a quick thing on Lawrence. I'm not far off from you. I've got him a little higher, like 19. I think something really interesting is Doug Peterson made Nick Foles a Super Bowl MVP.
Yes, he did.
So that's the one way you can spin this for Trevor Lawrence. But, I'm pretty much aligned with the receivers. I think Kirk's going to get some volume, but not going to do much with it. I'm pretty high on Travis Etienne. I've shocked myself with where I keep seeing him, like where I'm taking him in mock drafts, where I have him ranked. I think the ceiling is somewhere, DeAndre Swift, Alvin Kamara, like that back end top 10 that splits his first and second down carries, and he gets everything inside the 20 and every third down. I think that's kind of going to be what we're seeing out of ETN. I've got him in front of Elijah Mitchell, Josh Jacobs, CEH, Antonio Gibson. So he's right around 20 for me.
Let's really quick, all name team, Snoop Connor. Right?
That's going to be Coop's fourth boy.
Coop Connor. You got all of
We'll name the dog Snoop. We'll name the dog Snoop.
Just name your next one dog, and it fits your theme you got going on there with all them kids. His name dog. All right, whatever. But anyway, Snoop, Coop, Connor. There you go. I like it.
I do think you're right on with Travis Etienne, because something that, I skipped my mind because I didn't pay attention to the Jaguars last year. James Robinson tore his Achilles last year, and he is not coming back until like week 8 or something like that, maybe. And, we can say Cam Akers did it last year, and I think he did it in like 6 months to come back to the playoffs. That's freak stuff. You don't see that.
That's on another level.
And so I think Etienne is going to run away with this. I think him and Lawrence are already comfortable with each other. They've had 3 years in Clemson. Yeah. So I feel like James Robinson, this is going to be he's either going to get traded or he's going to be that, the fantasy football trivia guy. What running back from Illinois State went undrafted and was pretty good for 2 years.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I think he's got a role. I look at Detroit. I really see that happening almost identical here. Like Jamal Williams, I'm not going to draft him, but he's going to play every week. He's going to get 8 to 10 carries for the Lions. Mm-hmm. And I think James Robinson is going to be the same thing. But you want the passing back and the red zone back in those offenses. I think they're going to be very similar.
In your PPR leagues.
Yeah.
Whoever plays in a standard league anymore. Not me. So switching gears to the long neck of – I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I totally lied. I totally meant to say that. Davis Mills. Anybody drafting Davis Mills out there? No, you're not. You're not. Marlon Mack, Rex Burkhead. I do like Rex Burkhead, but you can't draft Rex Burkhead. What we got? Brandon Cooks, maybe? Is that the only one?
Nope. I think there's 3
Marlon
names
Mack.
here.
Let me try to guess them. You're going to pick Philip Dorsett or some shit like that, aren't you?
No, it's not Philip Dorsett.
Not even close.
Give him to me, Coop. Who you got?
So I think as far as average draft position goes, this is the most valuable team in the NFL. Because
nobody's going to pick any of them.
Right, but they could be league winners.
Yeah.
Okay, Brandon Cooks has had 1,000 yards in 6 out of 8 seasons. He's done it for, I think this is his 5th different team. Like that's all the guy does is have 1,000-yard seasons. He's going to catch the ball 80 times. He's going to have 1,000 yards. He's top 20. His ceiling isn't that high because that's all he's ever really done is 80 catches and 1,000 yards. But it's going to happen. Like you can guarantee it. I think Nico Collins could see a lot of volume because outside of him, there's not much behind him. Had a quiet but decent rookie season. And I think that just, volume. Davis Mills wasn't bad last year. No, he's just going to get better. So I think Nico's a late round flyer, and Pierce, man, that running back is that might be Elijah Mitchell this year. That might be the guy nobody drafts. He was a 4th round pick, not a 7th, but he looked great in the preseason. I think he was like the highest graded running back, period, from his performance.
80 yards rushing or something like that.
Yeah, and what blew my mind, he had a pass block where he literally like body slammed a linebacker. Like dude was off the ground in the air and he just flipped him backwards. Nobody in that backfield impresses you. Marlon Mack lost the job to Naeem Hines. Rex Burkhead's been around everywhere and never stuck. Like Pierce can come in, he can do it all. Coaches are super high on him. I'm reaching like 2-3 rounds to get Dameon Pierce because I think he is a league winner this year.
One name on this list that you'll see him down here in the 4th, John Mechie from Alabama. That's unfortunate, his injury, but we would be talking about him, I feel like, if that didn't happen. So that's a name to keep in mind, and I wouldn't forget about him. I think, is he out for the year?
Yeah, I'm sure he's out for the year.
Yeah.
I don't know what his prognosis is in terms of length of his diagnosis. If it's, if those who don't know, he was diagnosed with leukemia, I believe, was it?
Yep.
It's very common. We see it all the time, but it's a pretty serious situation. So unfortunately, I really think we'd be talking about him more often if that weren't the case. But moving on to the last team that we're going to talk about tonight, Tennessee Titans. What is there to say about Tennessee other than draft Derrick Henry? That's pretty good, isn't it?
Treylon Burks had a lot of buzz, but I'm fading him, man. I don't trust it. He kind of just was big in college. Like they ran all these little gadget plays for him. Came in out of shape. Then it comes out. I mean, people play with all kinds of medical diagnoses. He has asthma. Not a big deal. People learn how to deal with that. But coming in out of shape, coupled with that, it's just not a good combination. I think he's going to be behind. I'm kind of out on Burks.
I kind of side with the guy. Growing up, chubby little dude, hacking up lungs running poles when we was in Little League, dude. Coach Lopez would like hit the hill for grass drills, and I'm like, so I mean, Dave, I got Dave rolling on the ground right now. He knows exactly what I'm talking about.
If mom's listening,
so me and Treylon Burks have something in common.
If my mom's listening, I apologize. She is a hypochondriac, and she's a hypochondriac to the point that she.
Sorry, Tammy.
She pushed that hypochondriism onto her children. So I was a big kid too, super, out of shape.
Yeah, but you were tall. That helped you out.
Anyway,
I was 5'4".
Conditioning rolls around for Little League basketball, and it's like, oh God, it's hard to breathe. I was diagnosed with exercise-induced asthma.
Yeah.
I was out of shape. I was like, Mom, I was just fat. I didn't have asthma. I had an inhaler, and I used that thing like a crutch in high school. You remember that?
You put it – listen, Dave, you didn't play high school football. So, me and Coop –
inhaler. I'm not running these coaches.
Coop was a tight end. I played guard. We played right beside each other in a double tight, double wing. We'd be running wind sprints. Me, I'm first couple. I'm hustling, dude. I'm getting down the line. I'm finished middle of the pack. I ain't last. And all of a sudden, it's like 3 or 4, JJ. We call them JJs down and backs on the field. A couple more of those later, Coop is beside me. And he takes his helmet off, and he's got his inhaler stuck in the helmet pads up in the top. And he pulls it out and uses it mid-conditioning just to get out of it. Oh, so smart.
Hey, play them if you got them. Play them if
so
you got
smart. But anyway.
I never got a refill. It was empty the last 5 years.
That's why you found out so much in basketball. You're tired of running.
Yeah.
He said, here, I'm going to just grab him. I'm tired. Get me out, coach.
Yeah.
But anyway, Titans depth chart.
Speed was not my forte. I do think Robert Woods way underrated. He was a
for
top
sure.
20 wide receiver 3 years in a row in LA, was on pace for top 20 again before he got hurt, and people are just forgetting about him. I don't think he gets that high, but he's going like wide receiver 40, 45. Like he's forgot about. He needs some respect.
They got to throw it to somebody. They're gonna lean heavily on Derrick Henry, but anything can happen. So Derrick Henry could go down again. That'd be super unfortunate because when Derrick Henry's in the game, like in the league, good things happen. But Robert Woods picking him up is probably a high priority of most people that are serious about fantasy football.
Yeah, those of you that play Dynasty, I don't think any redraft league would touch this guy. But I've heard a lot of buzz about Kyle Phillips. Sounds like he's probably going to get the start in the slot. And I guess he had, some insane measurables coming out of college, really good performances at the senior game and all that. So Dynasty leaguers, check out Kyle Phillips, see if he's available in your league.
I've never played in a Dynasty league. I don't know if I have the patience to. Seems like a lot of work to me. I mean, Dave, I know you're in a couple Dynasty leagues up there in Corn Country. What's that like?
Oh, dude, you got to get in one. It is. You say it's more work. The only thing that's more work is the actual first draft, because you're doing, if you have a 20-man roster, you're gonna have a 20 rounds. But then every year after that, because the waiver wire is pretty much done, unless you have that Elijah Mitchell diamond in the rough that literally was on nobody's radar. And then every year after that is just trades and rookie drafts. That brings me to my point. If you are in a dynasty, I mean, Malik Willis is an absolute no doubt pick. He's a first rounder in any rookie dynasty draft. Ryan Tannehill, it might be his team. I could see, the Colts could run away with the division, or maybe the Jaguars sneak a couple games again, or shoot, I forget who the fourth team was, but
Texans.
I could see Ryan Tannehill losing his job to Malik Willis late in the season if the Titans are not in contention.
You don't think Davis Mills and the Texans can stick their necks out long enough to make a difference?
No, I'm saying they will.
I don't know if the rest of the team can be there with him.
These are the heads in the clouds.
That's such a dad joke.
I'm saying Malik Willis, don't touch Ryan Tannehill. This is Malik Willis's team.
Malik Willis.
They should make a Madden X Factor just for him, to where like his head raises up above the line to get better visibility. You know what I'm talking about? Like increase accuracy on these throws.
That dude needs a sponsorship for like Under Armour turtlenecks or something.
He gets to see the defensive play because his neck is so tall.
Yeah.
He's so tall, you can see the names on the back of their jerseys looking straight at him. Anyway. So that's all the teams we have. We're only 43 minutes, and I got another topic I want to talk to you guys about before we get off. And it has nothing to do with fantasy football. So if you like fantasy football, sorry. We're done. Again, I want to remind you guys to go back and watch all the other episodes. We're still not completely finished with all the teams in the NFL yet. We got a couple more left before the season starts. We're going to knock those out here very, very soon, as in like this weekend. So for those of you guys that did tune in, reached a personal best. I think we got up to like 18, 19 viewers at once. That's awesome in my opinion. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch our videos on there. It's similar to what we have here. It's just longer content form. I do kind of break it up into smaller chunks sometimes when I get the time, but it's okay. The one thing I want to talk about before we close is the UK football basketball situation. I know everybody's heard about it. John Calipari wants to obviously build a better practice facility to match the success of the program. Totally understandable. But he calls it a basketball school. He said Kentucky's a basketball school. And then we go on a rampage of, he mentions Alabama and Georgia specifically as football schools and leaves UK football out. We all know UK football is on the rise. You boys got season tickets. Pretty pumped about it. But then Mark Stoops, being the Mark Stoops guy that he is, that I love, kind of fires back at Cal. And then Cal turns around and says, somebody asked him in the interview and I saw it on Twitter the other day. He said, what do you mean by the comments? And he's like, you know what? I said the wrong thing. Me and Mark were okay. What I said didn't come out correctly. It was bad, and I apologize. What do you guys think of the situation? Because people are making a massive deal out of it.
Dave, you got the shirt on. I'll let you go.
Oh, I am ready for this. Cal fucked up. He shouldn't have said what he said, but he's not wrong. He's not wrong. We are a basketball school.
Viewer discretion is now advised.
I do click the explicit versions.
Sorry, my bad. But
we try.
We have 8 national championships. Does Kentucky football even have an SEC East championship or title?
I think the fact that we can't answer it speaks enough.
I think we can.
Exactly.
We did win a national championship in football back in the day. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I'm looking it up. Y'all keep talking.
That speaks for itself. You know, Cal shouldn't have gone into the depth he did, but he is not wrong. Are we more worried about getting 5-star recruits for our basketball team or for our football team? I would say as a collective, it's our basketball team. I mean, I love seeing Stoops tweet out Yahtzee when we get the guy or whatever, but I don't know anything about him. I mean, basketball is a different beast in Kentucky. And I'm right there with Cal. I think, it pays more to the university to go and renovate the basketball practice facility than it does the football. But we did just pay Stoops. We promised him the practice facility. So Cal has terrible timing. He really should have said this before the Georgia game. Why he didn't wait? Idiot. That we would have won. We would have finally beat Georgia if we would have had that football team just fired up.
And I'll be there. Maybe.
I don't know about that.
My daughter has a cheerleading competition on that day. I'm pretty upset about it. But anyway, yeah. So, I mean,
I'd like to see the revenue splits. Like, how much does basketball generate versus football? And I think a lot of that comes down to how the SEC splits their revenue. If it's football and basketball are separate pools and it's not league-wide, then Stoops may have a case because SEC football is a monster.
Yes.
And that's just dollars. That's not.
And he actually said that too in his tweet. He's like, "We play in the SEC, don't we? And compete in it fairly enough, good enough." Anyway,
I definitely agree with Dave. It's crazy to say that we're not a football school. UK is not a football school. They're getting better at football, but they're not a football school. Alabama is getting better at basketball. Like they went to the Sweet 16 last year, the year before. They're not a basketball school.
Here's the thing.
If you turn on an Alabama basketball game on like a random Tuesday night where they're not playing anybody, like in the SEC play, it's going to be a half-empty gym. Like, they're not a basketball school. And I would say up until 5 years ago, you flipped on a UK game at noon on Saturday, it's probably 3/4 full. It wasn't a sellout until of late.
One thing about UK athletics is, you could say we're a basketball school, and I want to understand the argument that we're not a football school, but we're trying to really hard become one. And it's you can't just like shit on people for not liking football. But if we want to say we're an anything school, we're a track school. We're a rifle school. And most importantly, we're a freaking cheerleading school.
Mm-hmm.
National championships galore. Let's think about our women's track team. Sydney McLaughlin, Olympic gold medalist, straight out of college. Abby Steiner just won the world championship in like a 4x100 relay. Look at me. I know track. I may not have even thought about running track. I don't even like 7 foot.
The football.
This guy never even touched the discus in high school.
No, but I wish I did, though. I wish I did. That was one thing I do regret. But it was during baseball season, so I couldn't play. But I feel like that was something I really could have been good at. It's discus and shot put. And then the hammer throw, but that wasn't a thing in our school. I really think I would have been a good pole vaulter, too, but we didn't have that. Like they cut it out whenever I was in high school. We just let
jump. You mean actually vaulting on the pole? Or are you talking about? Oh,
we used to just lay on the pad after practice because it was just like there and nobody used it. It was good times. But anyway, we can sit and talk about our sports experiences in our hometown for the longest time. I do miss it though, honestly. But that about does it for our show. Coop, you're opening your mouth, so I'm gonna let you talk one more time.
I do think in the sense of who has done more for Kentucky, like if it's a coach asking for them, something for me, Cal's got that hands down. We talked about it before, but the stuff he's done relief-wise, going all the way back to the earthquakes in Haiti, we had the tornado out in Western Kentucky, the recent flooding. Like it's amazing how immediate he is in his response to do whatever he can to generate funds to help people out in the state. So I think that is, it's got to have some goodwill for him to be able to ask for those things.
Thanks, Brian. All-American hurdler right here. This guy. More like a hurler, throwing up maybe from eating too many pizza rolls before practice that one day. Me and Coop one time sat on the couch in practice because we were both sick. And
Did y'all ever practice?
Yeah, we did. We were good, David. We would have been better if you were playing too. We were good.
Too scary.
Anyway. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We absolutely had a blast today. I'm really like seeing that viewer count go up, especially when we're live. It's really cool to see people. We had a lot of interaction too with our chat. So when we're on, feel free to chat with us, ask us questions. We will pop your name on the screen and then make comments to you. It's really good. It's fun. It makes us know that people actually enjoy our content sometimes. We're just doing our best in something that we like to do and have fun. So we're going to round out today's show with saying that we appreciate all of you that watched today. Go like our YouTube channel and go subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, like the Facebook page, and leave us a comment every time you would like to see us talk about something different. Fantasy football is going to take a lot of the time because that's something we love. But we're going to throw some other stuff in there along the way because there's only so much you can talk about when it comes to fantasy football. But appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, we love you.